Hi guys, it's Mia from MiasDanceVideos, and I'm here with a requested video, and this was actually a really good request, and I'm glad. Whoever sent it in. I'm sorry, I'm not keeping track with who sends in requests, but I do like this one. They asked me to kind of tell the difference between a competition dance studio and a non-competition dance studio, and I got really excited because I've gone to 3 different dance studios, 2 of them being competition studios, and then the one I go to now does not compete at all. In fact, they're one of the studios that they don't believe that you should compete and dance. So I got really excited. I was like, oh, I can't wait. And I sat down to write it, and it was actually kind of hard to come up with comparisons and contrasts to the studios, competing and non-competing studios. So I actually called my friend Craig on Skype, and we talked and conversed and kind of gave our 2 cents into what we thought. And he gave me this outlook. He said there's like 3 different types of dance studios, and 2 of them are competition studios. The top is the bitch competition studios. They're totally bitchy about it. They're totally flaunting it. And then there's the cool ones. They're cool about it. They're kind of, they're not very flashy. They're not too crazy. And then there's the non-competing studios. And then he said something like, oh, and then there's Dance Moms. It's a reality TV show. So I thought that was kind of funny, and it kind of gave me an outlook. I was able to say, I think I've gone to all 3 of those studios. So anyway, so I'm here with just a quick, this is what competition studios are, or, the difference between competition and non-competition studios. So comment below, tell me if you go to a competition studio or a non-competition studio. Do you like it? If you like it, why? If you don't like it, why? So yeah, so competition studios tend to be more expensive just because, well, it's competition. So you usually have nicer costumes, more props. Classes tend to be more expensive costumes, and then you have to travel to competitions. So it tends to be overall more expensive. And then the studios are usually best known for their competition. So where they rank in competitions, like how well they do. So you might say, oh, that studio, they suck. Or that studio, oh, that studio, they're great. They get all the good trophies and the good medals and things like that. I've gone to 2 of the studios I went to competed. One of them was it was a great competition studio. They got a lot of awards. They were really popular. And then the other one, not so much. They always, when I went to them, this was in the same area when I switched studios. The studio I went to that didn't get quite as many awards knew the studio I came from, and they said they got beat by them every year. And then there tends to be discrimination between competitive dancers and non-competitive dancers. So there tends to be that whole, oh, you're not a competitive dancer, you're not cool, you don't compete in dance, so you're kind of, left out. I've never competed in dance, mainly because it's really expensive, and my parents live a long way from each other, and I have to see them regularly, so I wasn't able to put in the dedication to compete. I wasn't allowed to do sports as a kid just because I don't have the time for it. So I never competed, and I wanted to compete as a kid because all my friends competed, and I kind of got left out because I wasn't in competition classes. And so there's that discrimination and feeling left out, and that can be in any studio. There can be cliquey studios, but definitely with competition dancers and then non-competitive dancers, there can be that line. That is, trying to explain it better. There's just a definite difference. Also, one thing I really noticed when I went to my 2nd competitive studio, that's the one that didn't get quite as many awards, they required all of their competition dancers to take a ballet class. And I think that is similar with most competition studios. They are required to take a technique ballet class, just for the technique part of it. Now, my previous dance studio, they didn't offer really any ballet class, so they were required to take a tap class. Now, I was in a ballet class, a classical ballet class, with about 30 or 40 girls in the class, about 39 girls, in a really small room. And I think only 3 or 4 of us in that class did not compete. We were there for ballet, and I absolutely hated it, because the girls that competed were just there for, the requirement. They had to take it. They didn't take it, they couldn't compete. And they did not take it seriously. They did not take the ballet part seriously, and it kind of pissed me off. I was like, you're wasting my ballet class. You're goofing around. I want to take this class seriously. So that can be really annoying when they do that. And back to the discrimination part, I did experience a lot of girls who compete think they're all that. And I'm not trying to put anyone down or any studio down, but I did find that was definitely something that happened in competitive studios. Now, non-competitive studios, they're going to have their differences. So one of them is all classes tend to be a little bit more equal. Now, the studio I go to now, I will say, it can be a little cliquey. And I'm going to say that in the sense that we have a pre-professional program. So the girls that are in pre-professional would kind of be like the girls that compete versus the girls that don't compete. So the pre-professional girls all hang out together, and all the girls that aren't in pre-professional want to be pre-professional. And it's not something as easy that you can do like competition. Pre-professional is a lot harder to get into. So that tends to be a little cliquey, but everyone is really overall nice, and the studio isn't. They don't push the pre-professional. They accept everyone. Now the pre-professionals get, more incentives. They get to take more classes, or just more advanced classes, and they get to participate in more advanced things with the adult instructors and things like that. And that's because they're pre-professional and they're trying to get them out there into the community. But I find that it really, there's going to be cliquey moments in studios, but I find it just to be worse in competitive studios. And your studio might be competitive, but not cliquey at all. So I'm just going to completely drop that subject now. And like I said, most competitive studios are known for how well they dance and their awards, whereas non-competitive studios, tend to be known for their instructors. And you usually find studios that don't compete are usually ballet studios. So they're known for the instructors, and I think that might, in my opinion, is a little bit better to be known for who's teaching. Like for instance, the director of my dance studio, she is well known, and she, my dance studio is considered one of the best, ballet studios, and she's considered one of the best ballet instructors in the United States. So it's just the fact that her name is on my studio, it really goes, oh wow. So I tend to like that more than, oh, you've won a bunch of medals, compared to, oh gosh, you're instructed by this person. Like, this person is good, And then, now this next one could be a little The next one I say is non-competitive studios tend to focus more on technique. Now, in competition, they do have, they score on technique. So when you compete, you do have to have your technique down, and you do have to have it good. And that was the difference between my two competition studios. The competition studio that won a lot of awards that I went to, and I actually went there for like 8 or 9 years, they had great technique. They had great teachers. Technique was enforced in the school. However, the one that I went to that didn't have great technique, they had great choreography. Pretty dancers, they had pretty costumes, but their technique sucked. It royally sucked, and that's why they didn't get many awards. However, in the competitive schools, they tend to be focusing a lot more on not just technique, they focus a lot more on the costumes and the prettiness of it. Whereas non-competitive schools tend to really focus on the technique. They don't have to focus on the lavish decoration and costumes and makeup, because they're not too worried about that. Like my dance studio, you're not required to do recital, and if you do participate in recital, then you don't even have a costume. You just come dressed like a ballet dancer. And so it's really, my school's focused, it's a technique school. It's technique. They are not focused on performance as they are learning and the technique of ballet. Okay, so I will see you all later, and I do have some more videos left that were requested, and I will get to those. And as you know, I'm no longer taking requests, so please don't leave any below. Thank you very much. And hopefully I'll have some new dance journals up soon, and I also have some huge announcements that I'm going to be making really, really soon. So I hope to see you all later, and keep dancing. Bye!